Hey, welcome back. I want to talk about how I built the foundation to my career and also how I continuously reinforce that foundation. I've been wanting to make this video for a while because I think there's so much to share out there, and I've got a lot of lessons I've learned over the last 20 years, and I would love to hear some of your lessons down in the comments below. So let's go over to the whiteboard and I'll share with you what I've learned and what I continuously do on an everyday basis to make sure my career is as successful as it can be. Okay, so over the years, I've learned that a successful career is really a triad of three things. And so this is my opinion. This is what I've developed, and this is what I continuously reinforce. And for me, this works. I would love to hear if you have similar thoughts on this, or if you agree or disagree. Put them in the comments down below. So let's go through the triad a little bit. So if you just consider a triangle for a moment, at the top of that triangle, you want to think about health. And this could be your mental health and your physical health. Both of those matter. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you can't go to work feeling your best, you're probably not going to do a good job at work. Do you agree? So if I go to work sick, I'm going to be groggy. I'm not going to feel good. I'm going to be irritable. I'm not going to be able to do my best work. And so I want to make sure my health is squared away. Now, what does that mean? That means being able to, making sure that I'm healthy or maintaining my health, let's say, right? Making sure I eat a good diet every day, making sure I exercise every day, making sure I'm going to the doctor regularly, doing checkups, taking care of business when it comes to my health. But it also means mental health as well, right? Making sure that's squared away. Something else that is around health that for me, I think has drastically improved my career over the years is I learned how to sleep. I learned how to develop a routine every night to, go to bed at the same time consistently every night, wind down, get a good night's rest, and then wake up consistently every day with a routine. And I think, for me, my opinion, that sleep habits absolutely impacted my career. And so you want to make sure, overall health is taken care of, right? The next part of that triad is relationships. Everybody talks about relationships when it comes to a good career. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And in the very beginning, 20 years ago, I was naive. I didn't think that, right? I was like, oh no, I know everything, right? I'm studying, I'm getting certifications, I'm getting on the job training and experience. It doesn't matter who I know. Boy, was I wrong. And I'm sure some of you out there could agree with me on this, that over the years, I learned that it is about who you know. That's how you get promoted. That's how you get into new job roles. That's how you get hired at a new company. That's how you land, a client. That's how you win a deal. That's how you grow your career, is through the relationships that you develop in the industry and even outside the industry. So let's break that down a little bit. Maintaining relationships and building new relationships for me is probably the most important thing right after health to make sure I have a good career. Making sure I have good relationships with all of my coworkers, both my close team and distant folks within the organization. Making sure I build good relationships with people in the industry, right? Customers and business partners, people in the community, but also making sure I maintain those relationships in my personal life, my significant other, right? My spouse, my marriage, making sure that's maintained and healthy, making sure my friendships are healthy, making sure that all of my relationships are squared away. But also, you have to be willing to build new relationships. You got to be social. That's how you get ahead. But I can't do that unless I'm healthy, right? And unless I'm feeling good to be able to make those new relationships and maintain them. The last part of this triad after health and relationships is discipline. I think this is the most important thing after health, after relationships. It's in my top three. And when I say discipline, I'm referring to many different things. Having the discipline to wake up early and get business done, right? Having the discipline to go to bed at a decent hour and have a routine. Having discipline to stick to your diet, right? Having discipline to stick to your exercise routine. Having discipline that when you have a PowerPoint presentation due, Monday morning, and it's Sunday evening, having the discipline to say, you know what, family, I got to go focus on this because it's due. Better yet, having the discipline to get that PowerPoint presentation done way ahead in advance by working on it a little bit every day so you don't have to rush at the 11th hour. Having the discipline to do all of these different things matters. Having the discipline to spend an hour every day learning something new, a new skill in your career that can help you progress, whether you're going for an IT certification or you're trying to get hands-on training or whatever it may be, learn a foreign language, whatever it is, right? But discipline is so important. Health is extremely important, and relationships is important. That for me is my career triad. Now, you maintain this throughout your career. And look, I've had a journey when it comes to these things. When I first started my career, I didn't have either of these three things. I had to build it over time. And I'm continuously evolving my tactic there. I'm learning new things around how to, maintain and build these different points of the triad. And I think it's a lifelong thing, right? I'm never going to get to the finish line, but it's making me wiser. It's making me, be able to thrive more. I want to say it's making me happier in my career. So that's it. That's the career triad. So now let's take that foundation to our house and let's start building on the foundation and talk about what an IT career looks like and making that successful or making sure it's successful, right? So let's take a look at that. Okay, so now let's talk about taking that foundation to your overall career and let's shift into building a successful IT career. Now, again, this is all my opinion. This is what I've learned over the last 20 years working in IT. This has worked for me. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below because everybody has a different perspective, and that's okay because we all learn from each other, right? And that's the important part. Okay, so again, let's draw that triangle for a moment and let's start at the top and let's think about one of the most important things when it comes to working in IT is community. If it wasn't for community, I probably wouldn't be successful in IT. So what does that mean? That means being social, going out there to industry conferences, whether it's the Microsoft Ignite conference or it's the RSA Security Conference or DEF CON or whatever IT conference it may be, with whatever vendor, getting out there and being social, introducing yourself to other people in the industry, your peers, just like you, learning from them, talking to them. When I first started in IT, I got invited to a conference. Now, at the time, I was 18. And that's another story for another day about starting so young. But I was 18 years old, and I went to this conference in Vegas, and I couldn't drink, right? But going to that conference, I was already working. And it was a conference for a piece of software that the company was running. And being able to talk to other sysadmins for that software and getting their ideas and how they deal with troubleshooting issues and all that was so important to me. And then over the years, I've been to hundreds of conferences over the last 20 years. And being able to understand and learn from those other people in the industry is so important. But it also means like going out and participating in message boards, going out there and just being social and learning from others. And then sharing your knowledge with others. Hence why I do this YouTube channel. So community, for me, that's kind of the tip here. Now, if we look over on the right, personal investment. I would actually argue this is the most important part in IT. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. That means paying your own money to learn. Let's break that down. When I first started in IT, the company I worked for, yes, they paid for me to go out and take some classes, and also they paid for some certification exams. Absolutely. What they didn't pay for was a home lab. At the time, and this is 20 years ago, so we had racks of servers still, and everything was on premises. Cloud wasn't really a thing. I had to learn all of that. I had to learn, Cisco routers and switches and Windows Server and everything, security, you name it. I learned it not only by studying and taking those exams, sure that helps, but getting hands-on, I had to get a home lab. I mean, I couldn't go do practice on this stuff in production. And so I had to go out and buy some servers. I bought them used. And that's another story for another day and how I did that because I thought that was pretty interesting. I spent some personal money to do that. And fast forward 20 years, I've always done that. Whether it's buying servers that are cheap and old to do troubleshooting at home and learn, or buying some routers and switches and firewalls to learn, or labbing up Office 365 and buying a subscription. The company you work for is not always going to pay for that. And it's so important to get hands-on experience. That is really building that foundation. But also, I use my labs every single day, right? Back when I was consulting, if I was dealing with a customer issue during the day, guess what I did at night? I'd go home, I'd lab up that issue in my home lab and trying to troubleshoot and figure it out and learn in the process. When I was studying for a new exam, whatever it may be, I'd use my home lab to help study. I mean, you have to be willing to invest in yourself with that home lab, but also maintaining certifications. Some companies are not going to pay for all of it, or they may pay for half of it. Taking time off to go to professional courses and learning and evolving your IT skills. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. And for me, I think that's really impacted my career. I don't know how I could do my job if I didn't have a home lab. Whether it was 20 years ago when I was at sysadmin for that small company, or now with the company I work for and everything I do, I got to have that lab. I got to continuously learn. I've got to go out and take certification exams. One of the reasons, there's many reasons why I make YouTube videos, but one of the reasons is for me to learn. And, I bought this equipment. It's a personal investment. Okay, the last part of this is adapt. You have to be willing to adapt to change. In IT, over the last 20 years in my career, I've seen a lot of things come and go, right? We went from server client to client server, back to server client, cloud, BlackBerries, smartphones, cybersecurity principles. Wow, cybersecurity has changed drastically just in the last few years with the rise of nation-state attacks. The type of attacks that were 3 to 5 years ago, the type of protections that you'd employ to defend against those attacks, they don't work anymore. You have to be willing to adapt. So that means personal investment and leveraging the community and learning from others and labbing things up to adapt and learn those new technologies. Another great point. When I left one of the companies I worked for in my career and I went to go work for another company, I had to start learning that technology. Now, I knew some of it, obviously, because that's what helped me land the job, right? But I had to go out and learn and get those exams and go out there and lab stuff up. But I had to be willing to adapt. If you can't adapt to change and you don't thrive with change, it's going to be really hard to have a successful career in IT because technology is always changing. So there you have it. That's, in my opinion, a successful career in IT, right? It comes down to being able to leverage that community of other professionals in the industry, being able to be willing to invest in yourself and actually, put up your personal money to build a lab or study guides or whatever it is that you're doing, and then adapt to change. You always have to be learning. So in addition to that, think of this like a house. If we go back to the previous diagram, the career foundation, PowerPoint doesn't want to load for me. Whoops. There we go. PowerPoint fail. You can't thrive in IT and do all those things I just talked about unless your health is squared away, right? And making sure you're maintaining your health and sleep habits and physical exercise and healthy diet and all that stuff so you can be your best, so you can learn, so you can go lab stuff up at midnight or at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. You got to be able to maintain those relationships and build new relationships so you can continuously learn and then have the discipline to do all of that, right? Okay, folks, I hope you found value in this. I really enjoy making these videos and just kind of sharing with you my perspectives on things. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me feedback. Would love to hear it. And please put your comments down below. Let me know what has helped you over your career and share that knowledge with others. All right, folks, have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.